Welcome, everybody. Hi, it's Julie Lindsay here, and it's great to see some people in the room. I'm sorry if you're having connection issues. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for coming in. Okay, so this is a webinar to talk about global collaboration in the classroom and also to talk about flat connections, but it's not all about flat connections. But for those who don't know a lot about flat connections, we will share some information with you about professional development and projects, etc. Welcome, Joan. We've just started. Thanks for coming in. This meeting is being recorded so people can watch it afterwards. And of course, if you're looking for the actual slides, you will find them at that goo.gl link. And if you're new to Fuse, it may take you a couple of minutes just to orientate to the room. I do hope you can hear me okay. If you're on a Mac, all the controls, if you've got the new app, they're down there at the bottom there. And there is a window, like a speech window that you can open to see the chat. And of course, you can turn your camera on. We can take up to 12 cameras in this room. And it would be a good idea to mute your microphone if you're not talking. But we will invite you to speak a bit later on if you're willing to do that. All right, let's get moving here. This is me. I actually am based on the east coast of Australia at the moment, roughly about halfway up, not quite halfway up the east coast. And there's some of the things I've done and some of the things I'm doing, trying to complete my doctorate at the moment, which is a big headache. Between you and me, it's a big headache, but it keeps me going. Anyway, so let's keep moving. You'll find more about me at about.me.julielindsay. Okay. Now, welcome. What I'd like to do is add to the chat window your location, your current time, your Twitter handle or website, perhaps a sentence about yourself. So please take this minute to add where you're from, who you are. I'm based at Ocean Shores. It's 9:30 a.m. Today is a Tuesday where I am. So please add your details. Thanks, Diana, for putting your camera on. Good to see you. Perhaps your Twitter handle, somewhere where we can find you. Website. Chuck, put your Google website back in the window there so people know
you got it.
Where does that get typed in at?
Now, if you need to open up the chat window. You're probably seeing some action starting somewhere on your screen. So if you open up the square with the little speech, the bubble, that's the chat window. If you click on that, somewhere, if you're on a Mac, it'll be down the bottom, probably, the bottom right-hand side. And you should be up, yes. Diana, you found it, good. Oh, you're together with Barry. Okay, great. Right. Auckland, excellent. Ah, no sound. Can you hear now, Diana? That's no good if you've got no sound. All right, I'll keep going here and see if we can. You may need to go to your audio settings. Okay, that's no good if you've got no sound. That's bothering me. Go to cog icon, audio settings. Joan's from Chicago. Thanks, Joan, for joining us from Chicago. Hope you can hear me okay. 6:39 p.m. I'll actually go to mic icon and audio settings. Maybe the way to go. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Let's go. So we're talking about flat connected learning. We're talking about, the impact of Web 2.0. We're talking about being able to design learning experiences. And flat connected learning is about leadership and pedagogy, and it's about all of these other things. It really includes all of these other things that you may have heard of, you may be doing in your schools: project challenge-based learning, flipped learning, inquiry-based learning, etc. So when I talk about flat connected learning and global collaboration, this is really what we're talking about. Today's agenda, we are going to talk about what global collaboration is. We're going to look at some strategies and tools. We're going to look at Flat Connections teacher courses that are available and Flat Connections global projects, and we'll have a sharing session towards the end as well. We do have a few of our Flat Connections project managers in the room, which is great, and they're going to speak and share some of their experiences as well. Welcome to people who have just joined us. It's good to see you here.
I cannot do this.
And we just heard someone speak then. Karen, was that you, I wonder?
Yes, it is. I'm just having some technical difficulty, but I'll figure it out as you go along.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Great. We'll keep moving. Put in the chat window where you're from. I don't know whether I missed where you're from or not.
Yes, I'm working from an iPad, so I'm having a little bit more trickiness. If I would have worked from my computer, I'd be better off.
Sure. I think the iPad, the chat is a little bit more difficult, but you have managed to put some things in the chat, which is great. So keep going and tell us where you're from, okay? And perhaps just mute your microphone while you're not speaking. That would be great as well. Thanks for that. Okay, so global collaboration, when we talk about global collaboration, we need to think about whether we actually have a shared understanding about what it is. And, maybe we're talking about global connection or interaction, awareness, understanding, or global whatever. There are different ways of looking at this, but global collaboration is a particular way of teaching and learning, which really includes and it supports all of the other types of global descriptions that we may have. So I want to try and come to a shared understanding so that we can then move into, what global projects look like. Karen's from Iowa, great. And thanks, Tony. I'm so pleased you made it into the room. Tony's one of our project managers from Colorado Springs there. Trouble with these slides, moving them forward. I'm so sorry. Oops, there we go. Okay, got it. All right, so when we talk about connected flat learning, we talk about this, flattening the learning hierarchy. Students and teachers and all learners must be able to communicate across rather than up or down. And this is a pedagogical approach, and it's a way that you actually work in your classroom, in your own professional learning as well. Great to see more people coming into the room. So what does this look like? And I'm sorry that some of these slides do have a lot of text on, and I'll just paraphrase them, and they're there, of course, available for you to access after this meeting and as part of the recording as well. But we're talking about community building. And we're talking about collaboration that basically leads to co-creation. How can we get our students, how can we get ourselves building a community and co-creating things together? Collaboration that basically leads to co-creation. And we're talking about this pedagogical independence or teaching and learning independence, so that you are in your schools able to be a leader in the schools and use different tools and have certain things perhaps unblocked or available to you and your students to be able to do this. And I know we have a lot of tools these days for learning management systems, a lot of Google implementations, but perhaps they're not always the right tools for us to be able to collaborate globally. This is something, if you're a leader in your school, which you all are, you need to look at and see, well, what do I need to use? What do we need for global collaboration? Please keep the back channel chat going there. A number of our project managers will respond and share as I'm talking as well. So, of course, technology is really the bridge to collaboration. It shouldn't be the barrier. So this wonderful picture I found of this bridge on Flickr. Technology is the bridge. Just keep that in mind. And if you're feeling frustrated in your school with the technology and it is the barrier, well, there needs to be a lot of conversation going on between you and your tech people and your administrators and your teachers, etc., just to make it the bridge. So technology, of course, the global learning and collaborative learning that takes place using technology, we are assuming some integration of Web 2.0 tools. Now, these are the tools, of course, that allow us to not just to read but to write. They've been around for 10 years, and they do really support what we need to do in terms of synchronous and asynchronous communication, being able to contribute in different ways, allowing for a learner-centered environment, and basically a constructivist learning environment. So the Web 2.0 tools, and of course, if we start to think about this, we're talking about blogs, we're talking about wikis, we're talking about Google Apps in many respects. We're talking about social bookmarking and different ways of being able to find the information and share information and co-create, once again, jointly create information. So really, when we talk about global collaboration with the use of Web 2.0 tools, we talk about going beyond integrating technology. So it's a new category of tools, it's a new type of learning habit, and that supports global collaborative objectives. And I want you to think about the fact that it's really more about the process rather than the content. So in other words, a flat or connected or global learning environment, the content is second to the process, so therefore a flat learning environment can be implemented across any learning situation. Many people say, well, I can't do flat connections projects, or I can't do global collaboration because it's not a technology class. Well, this really is not totally relevant to a technology class. It may be relevant because that may be the only class that has access to the technology in your school at the moment, though that is changing so rapidly in so many countries that it's not really the focus. But it's really across all learning environments and all learning opportunities. So here are some reasons why we think global collaboration is important. Global competency, international mindedness. Of course, that's a phrase that's used often with the international baccalaureate schools, which I was in for about 10 years. Cultural awareness, of course, and this word globalization that Thomas Friedman, amongst others, uses, where we think global and act local. So we take ideas, we take inspiration from global interactions and collaborations, and we apply it back to our local situation. And that applies to teachers and students. Your teachers as you design curriculum and learning opportunities for your students, and students as they design action projects and new ways of looking at the world. So it's a great word, globalization. So when we talk about technology-infused learning, these are some of the steps that we use at Flat Connections. We need to be able to connect. We need to be able to communicate. We need to look at digital citizenship. How do we collaborate? And what does that look like? Who's contributing to the collaborations? We need to look at choice. What are the choices that teachers and students have for these collaborations? What are we creating? How are we creating it? And how do we then celebrate? And celebrate also includes reflection and evaluation. Welcome to people who have just joined. It's great to see you here. I'm running through some preliminary information at the moment. If you want to look at the slides, I'm just putting that in the chat window once again. The slides are open. You can browse through those or have them open in a different tab if you like as we're in this meeting. So as you move towards global collaboration, where you're going to link your classroom with classrooms beyond your classroom walls, and that could actually be the school down the road, the school in the next town, the school in the next state, or the school on the other side of the world. We still call these under the global umbrella. We need to look at strategies for meaningful interactions. So how are you connecting yourself? How are you connecting your school? How are your students connecting? How are you connecting to your students? How are your students connecting to each other? How are they connecting to the outside world? And once again, it's related to tools, but it is more so related to building communities and building these learning networks. And it involves synchronous communication. There's an image on the left-hand side there of another meeting we had in Fuse last year, as well as asynchronous communication. And this is where the blended learning mode comes in. We can't do global collaboration with just one. We need both. I think actually we could do it just with asynchronous, but it's not as much fun. It's not quite as engaging. We do need to include the synchronous as well. And this could include teacher meetings like we're having now. It could include student meetings like this. We do bring students into Fuse or into Blackboard to do meetings as well. It also includes Skype calls or Google Hangouts, of course, or different opportunities to come together synchronously, to see each other, to hear each other, etc. Very important. But then we need the asynchronous to balance that and to provide that richer, deeper learning, discussions and sharing, etc. So when you think about global collaboration and learning, we need to think about these essential spaces. So we must start with a community network. I mean, right now we have this community of learning in this room. The community will last for up to 1 hour, and it's great to see people in this room. But then we need to look broader than that. We need to have an asynchronous community, such as flatconnections.net. I'll ask one of my managers, one of my global teachers, to put the link in the room. Thank you for flatconnections.net, our educator community that our visitors may want to join as well. And then we need to look at spaces for collaborative learning. So if we have our community, which may in fact be your own Google site or your own learning management system at school, but then how are we going to learn collaboratively using that community? What other spaces do we have to create, such as a wiki space or a Google document or whatever? And how are we going to get people into that learning environment? And then what spaces are we going to use to interact and share with the world? Thanks, Tony. Are we going to be able to use YouTube? Are we going to use Vimeo? Are we going to use Twitter to share with the world and interact? So different spaces, different learning spaces, once again, with this Web 2.0 idea in mind. So just coming towards a bit of a definition here, and I'll read this out. Global collaboration by its very nature implies asynchronous collaboration, therefore building effective communities, knowing how to monitor these communities. So you don't just build them and hope people will come and hope your students will have a good learning experience. They won't unless you're there to monitor them and support them and encourage. And these are essential pedagogical applications teachers need to be confident with. And this is what we talk about at Flat Connections, building confidence, building expertise in these learning spaces and communities. So just a bit of a blurb here to try and explain, because I do these webinars and I do presentations, and then at the end people say, but you never actually said what Flat Connections is or what it does. So in one sentence, and then we're going to move on to more interesting things and other people talking as well. Flat Connections shares a cutting-edge approach to flatten the walls of learning by using digital technologies to connect learners globally for meaningful collaborations to build bridges between students our future can walk across. So if anyone asks you, that in fact is in one sentence the goal and the aim and the business of Flat Connections. All right, so just a word about our Flat Connections courses for teachers. And if you go to flatconnections.com, there is a menu item called Flat Professional Development. So there are a couple of courses starting in September. One of them is the Flat Connections Global Educator. We have a handful of those in the room. The information is there. It does have graduate credit with the University of Northern Iowa. It's a 10-week course and it starts next week. And I would love to see... oh, thanks, Helen. Great comments there. I'd love to see more people come and join us for this next cohort. There's also a shorter course, the Flat Connections Global Collaboration Primer, which is really a starter course, and we'll look at tools and we'll look at strategies. And, you know, if you're thinking about going global or you really want to encourage some administration in your school or other people in your school, there's a 2-for-1 offer on this one at the moment. So I really would like to see a large group of people in this course just exploring what global collaboration may look like in your learning environment, so you can make some decisions about what you want to do. So I'd like to, at this point, introduce some of our project managers. And I'm just wondering if anyone would like to come on and talk a little bit about when you did the Flat Connections course, or it used to be called the Flat Classroom Certified Teacher. And so some of the people in the room are Flat Classroom Certified Teachers or Flat Connections educators. I wonder if anyone would like to introduce themselves and just make a comment about the value of the course and where it's actually led you to, not just the course itself. Tony. Hi, Tony. Would you like to open your mic? Over to you. Thanks.
Yeah, I had done this, gosh, in 20, 2010 maybe. So it's been 4 or 5 years now that I did the Flat Connections course. And I think the people that I met while doing the course, the camaraderie you get with meeting people who are like-minded and want to do a lot of global projects is great. And a lot of those teachers that I met during that class are the ones that I still do a lot of projects with. So it's not only a lot of knowledge that you gain, but you also get this network of people that you learn from, and you teach them things you know, and you become very close colleagues with them. So I just wanted to add that in.
Thanks, Tony. I think the point is, once again, it's not all about Flat Connections. Flat Connections is the springboard to lots of other things. I know Tony is and others in the room, Helen and Amy and Sherry, they're very busy doing lots of other global things as well, and integrating or embedding global collaborative practices into the classroom. Helen, your camera's on. Would you like to say something? Would you like to add something?
I was just going to echo what Tony said. I know I put in a lot, it's a lot of work. It isn't, but you learn so much, and there's nothing like just diving into all of the different tools to feel confident to work with them, with your students. And as you say, you have this global connection with other teachers who are going through the same thing you are. You just bond, and highly recommend it.
Thanks, Helen. Great. Okay, so just a quick reminder, the courses, 10-week course, 4-week course, and if you go to the Flat Professional Development link, you will find all the information there, and please let me know if you have any questions. All right, let's have a look at some of our projects. And just before I do that, we have a number of projects, but just to let you know, the Flat projects or Flat Connections Global projects run twice. Every project runs twice a year. The Global Youth Debates is a little different, and I'll get to that probably in about 10 minutes when that slide comes up. But they run for 10 to 12 weeks long. They are designed to support connection and collaboration and creation of products actions. They are fully supported and managed. So they're great projects, particularly for beginner teachers and schools who are thinking, oh, I'd really like to have a go at this, but I'm not sure how. So they're a great foot in the door and a great step in to understanding how to manage global collaboration in your classroom. Because it is a bit daunting, and it can be disappointing, and we've all got stories. All of us have stories of trying to build global collaborative experiences with your students and not being successful because of various reasons. Maybe the technology didn't work, maybe the partnership that you made or partnerships didn't work and people dropped out for various reasons, and it just became a disappointing experience. So we work hard at Flat Connections to support and manage and to sustain the project, and we do provide support for technical issues and tools, as well as other support for prolonging, sustaining the project. So that, just to let you know, that's what we are about. And really, our projects can be embedded across the curriculum in many different ways. Flat projects. If you go to flatconnections.com, we've got flat projects as one of the menus there. Please go and explore. But here they are in summary. We've got the high school project, Flat Connections Global Project. We've got the digital citizenship project for really grade 5 and above. Global Youth Debates is grade 5 and above. A Week in the Life, grade 3 to 5, but we're extending that to slightly older students now. And of course, the K to 2 Building Bridges to Tomorrow project. So we've got projects for kindergarten right up to grade 12. And let's have a more in-depth look at them. I'm going to talk a little bit, then I'm going to ask Amy and Sherry to perhaps come on and say some things. But the Flat Connections Global Project is the ultimate high school project. We have grade 9 to 12, sometimes grade 8 students come into this. Just talking about last semester, last February to June, we had 500 or so students, 20 classrooms, 6 countries. It was a wonderful project. You see details at flatconnectionsglobalproject.net, which is actually our community. If you look at that learning spaces diagram again, that was where we built community. Then, of course, there's a link there to the wiki space, etc. So we had, a number of other people involved in the project. It is a flattened learning experience. It's not just teachers and their students. It's teachers with a keynote speaker who the students interacted with, expert advisors, judges for the videos. The students created videos and ebooks, etc. So We do build a community for collaborative learning, teachers, students, and of course that extended community. Amy or Sherry, would you like to say a few things? Amy Jamber and Sherry Williams are the project managers for this particular project. They've been managing this for quite a number of semesters now. Would you like to say anything or continue? I'm going to run through these slides. It'd be great if you could say a few things about how the project runs. Amy.
Amy here. Yes, I'd be happy to.
Thanks, Amy.
Sherry and I started to work with Flat Connections project several years ago and have acted as project managers after the last couple of years here. And this has really revolutionized our teaching and the experience for students. Actually, our school district has really embraced this as a core part of our curriculum. And now our students feel much more connected, and they have these true experiences of not only communication, but creation and collaboration globally. And we can provide them or help assist them in such an authentic experience. One of the best testimonials from one of the students I had that was on a Flat Connections project, the next year she came up to me in the hallway and she said, "Mrs. Jamber, I just don't feel as connected. I'm not participating in a global project this semester." And I said that I think that speaks volumes. I think that our students feel very connected and a part of something very wonderful when they participate in these global projects. And they do understand that this is a 21st century expectation, and they are really gaining some essential skills that I think will, particularly with us, we teach high school students that are going to help them as they grow and learn at the university and beyond. So we have found these to be incredibly powerful for us as teachers, building a network, but also for our students. Sherry, your thoughts?
Thanks, Amy. It's great to hear you talk about the students and their connectivity. Sherry, over to you.
Sure. Yeah, we've definitely been very supported in our district, and our students have really gained a lot of insight into other cultures and insight into a lot of collaboration, because sometimes it doesn't go quite the way they want. So it's really nice because they get a chance to troubleshoot and work with others and build those skills that they're going to need for the future. So our project this last year was focused on the Horizon report, and each of the teams had a different topic from that report, and they researched it together. They had different jobs, and then they came together and produced many things. So the project themes are there. It also infused David Price's book Open and the concepts and topics in that book. And so it's been very interesting to see them put these together and really how those topics have evolved and that research has evolved. So in the project, Amy, you can jump in anytime you want. In the project, the students connect on the Ning, and we have found this to be the most valuable place for them. If they don't get to know each other first, it's really hard for them to actually develop and research together and have that collaboration. So we spend time having them introduce themselves and get to know each other on the Ning. Again, all these tools are monitored by all the teachers in the project, and we get to know the students and from other schools as well. So we teacher source, which means all of the students in the project are all of ours. So this is a very valuable tool. And so Amy, I'll hand it over to you.
And what's nice is that, it's teaching in the moment. So we have a lot of opportunity for teachable moments. Students will, make mistakes or struggle, and that's perfect. How do we problem solve? How do we help them through that, mentor and guide them so that they are, so they feel good about what they're doing and they're gaining the important knowledge they need to be effective and appropriate in the future. We work through, in the past, we've worked on wikis as one of the tools for students to collaborate together, to conduct research, and to have conversations about that research, which has been very helpful to them. And then ultimately, the idea is for them to be published, to create an online publication so that they can share their work out to the world. They can organize their research in a way that they can share it with their global community, and not only students in the project, but students and teachers and other professionals out around the world. And then in the creation phase of the project, students create a final video, and that video is judged. And those are judges from around the world that have, professors, teachers that come in and actually judge the videos, and then those videos, and then there's an awards. We celebrate their work and their achievement and their hard work over the course of the semester. And this has been really powerful in the fact that we have had students step up as student leaders. We identify those students that take on natural leadership roles, and they really are able to, they do a wonderful job running with this. And so the students really emerge as leaders, and they conduct these online meetings, and you can see here's an example, a visual of one of those, and they are excited about that, to be in a room together. They jump on video. Sometimes they're hesitant to jump on microphone, but this is a good experience for them to be in an online meeting. An online meeting can be intimidating, so they can get comfortable with that. And again, the student leadership piece is phenomenal, one of the most powerful things on the project. So thanks, Julie. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Amy and Sherry. That's great. So David's just asked, is one able to view any of these completed video projects? Yes, so I'll ask Amy, Sherry, anyone there who's got access, to please put some links in the chat there for our visitors. If you go to the wiki, there's a link to the awards, and there's a link to all of the master list of projects. Let me just go back here, flatconnections.wikispaces.com. There's a link to everything that you'll need. Final videos, and the awards page actually gives the winning videos that you can link to, so they're possibly the best ones to look at. There you go. Thanks, David. That's a great question. Okay, so let's have a look at the little ones then. The K-2 project. I'm not sure if Sandy was in the room before. She was having trouble. That's okay. I'll talk about this. So this hasn't been going quite as long as the other high school project, but we wanted to give an opportunity for kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 teachers to come together and build bridges to tomorrow. This is an entry-level project, and we thought long and hard about how do we get students at this level to connect and collaborate. Still having trouble with this slide forward. It's the weirdest thing. Sorry about that. As soon as I find that handle again, I will move this slide forward.
And Julie, I can talk a little bit more about this because I've had classrooms in
Thanks. Yeah, great.
my second graders have created 2 books the last 2 years with people from around the world. They do a big story unit. Again, I feel like a lot of these projects have so much writing into them, even with the younger students. And what we did was we had one school pick the main characters, one school pick where the location would be, and it was like a traveling book. They added a piece every time they got the book back, and it was a really great experience when they've been doing it.
Great. The point of the focus of the K-2 project, of course, is not having the students in an online space. The students are young to do that, quite young to do that. Though some of the grade 2 students, I think, would be ready. But the thing is to share what they're doing in their schools, their homes, and this whole a view from our windows is one of the things that goes on, so that students share pictures. 1 year, and different things happen each project. One project, they created this ebook. You can see the pictures from China compared to Virginia, USA. They used a tool called Ublisher to do this. And this is, I think, last semester or a couple of semesters ago, where they created Padlet, pictures shared via Padlet. So you can see Malaysia and Colorado there. So it's just sharing and raising awareness, global awareness. And I think the teachers actually have the most fun in this project, because it's usually just a wonderful teacher community as they build the project together. So then we have a week in the life. And Tony, I'm going to ask you to come back in and talk about this as well. This is the upper elementary sort of moving now into middle school project that looks also at different objectives. But Tony, back to you to talk about this. Thanks.
Sure. This is really fun, and I think a lot of our projects have this handshake thing, and no one's talked about it, so I'll jump in with that. We call it a handshake because we want the classes to meet each other. So we ask them what they would want someone else to know about themselves, also talking to them about their digital citizenship, what's safe to tell, what's not safe to tell, and what we can do in a handshake. So for the younger project, K through 2, we usually do a classroom handshake, but when we get into the 3rd through 6th graders, we really want them to do a handshake of themselves that can be shared. And for this A Week in the Life project, we use Edmodo, and we put them in groups in Edmodo so that they can get to know their team. And just like with classroom project, or at least it used to be like this, we try to put kids in a team where they don't have anyone else from their school. So they're always working from students from other countries or states, and it's really a challenging thing for them to do, but really fun for them to be able to communicate with people from around the country or the world. It's more of a social studies project because we talk about different things. Here you can see that there was one on housing, there was one on transportation, there was one on environment, and what they do is really some deep compare and contrast. What does it look like where you live versus where does it look like from around the world, from some of these other countries that are in your group. So they take pictures or they find pictures from their area and they try to share. And we use VoiceThread a lot to do this because it's pretty fun. They can comment on each other's pictures and learn a lot about each other. I think that the student summits for all the projects are a huge one, or some kind of synchronous communication. But for this project, when I did it a few years ago, we really had them talk about what did they learn, what technology did they learn, what did they learn about collaborating with people from different classrooms, and it really made them realize how much they did within the project, and that's why I really liked the celebration piece.
And this is, thanks Tony, this is actually a slide from a couple of years ago when students used Blackboard Collaborate, but you know, we do have access to a Collaborate room. We have students could do Hangouts. It doesn't matter what the tool is, it's the communication is the focus. This is actually a little boy presenting from Nepal, from the international school there who were in the project at that time. But Tony's our project manager for A Week in the Life, and we're excited to be redeveloping that project this coming semester so that it has more of a global issues focus. So we're really keen to get students and teachers involved who want their upper primary school, sort of lower middle school students involved in exploring, identifying global issues and working together to come up with some possible solutions, or at least researching and discussing what their solutions are and how they're impacting their lives. So that's the A Week in the Life project. So I'm just letting more people in the room. Welcome for those who have just joined us. That's great. Okay, so the Global Youth Debates Project is asynchronous global debates between classrooms, and the website for that is globalyouthdebates.com. This is such a wonderful project. I would love to see more global classrooms join this year. And, you know, perhaps if you're joining another project and you think, oh, I could join this as well, because it is just such a great opportunity. And I think most schools in the world actually do debating. And this is just debating with a little bit of a difference. It's actually debating across the world. And that word again, asynchronous, means that it does in fact take about 3 weeks for a complete debate to be done. By the time the first classroom does their opening speech, then another classroom responds, etc. Takes about 3 weeks. And then we have judges judge and give feedback, and then we do it again. So we have a whole series of debates. Each semester, every team gets to debate at least 3 times. And across the world, you can see these are images from some of our finals. We had Singapore and Japan in our finals, as well as USA last semester. But our theme this year is global peace and security. We're still working on our topic. We're hoping to get that up this week in terms of the first debating topic. But global peace and security is the overall theme, and I think it's a very exciting theme that will have lots of good research to do there for schools across the world. So please come and have a look at that, Global Youth Debates. And grade 5 and above is pretty much the age. And we do put students into their age level. We don't ask grade 5 students to debate against grade 12, of course. All right, so now we've got the digital citizenship projects. There are two of these, but we tend to blend quite a bit because they're basically the same project, but younger students and older students. So we've got Digiteen and Digitween projects. And if Helen is still here, I'm going to ask Helen.
Oops.
Yes, you're here?
Yes, I'm
there
here.
You are. Good. Helen's one of our project managers for this. Helen focuses on Digitween, and our other project manager is Teresa Allen, who wasn't able to make this webinar. But Helen, over to you. Can you tell us about these projects? Thank you.
Well, we've been in the Digitween project probably, I think, like 4 years. It's pretty much something I do with my sixth graders. And like some of the other projects, the students start out with a handshake that they do in Edmodo, which is a great tool. And I think one of the things I want to say about it is it's a great topic. We get into some great discussions. And for some of the students, it's the first time that they've been in some of these tools. I know when my students saw Edmodo for the first time, they're like, is this Facebook? It's like, no, because then we get into conversations of age. What are the age requirements to use some of these online web tools? And one of the things that attracted me to the project in the beginning was not only the connections that you do with students across different classrooms and countries, but also that they're learning about these tools in a protected environment. As Amy said, that they will make mistakes. There's teachable moments, but it's in a platform where they can make those mistakes. They're protected somewhat. Well, not somewhat. They are very protected because we as teachers meet once a week, twice a week online. And even though I don't know the student in Illinois or in Singapore, I'm online with the teacher who does know that student, and we talk about things, and we allow them to make mistakes, and it's great for helping the students understand citizenship and being online and the footprint that they leave. The kids love to interact and get to know students in other places. It's an authentic audience. So when my students are editing a wiki, they're paying more attention to spelling because they know that maybe a student somewhere else is learning English and they need to pay attention to that. Or they talk about time zones and they talk about, is this the way it's spelled in another country? I don't automatically correct it because that may be correct there. And so you get in discussions about copyright in other places. It's just a great project. They start out with a handshake in Edmodo. They discuss and talk. We move to a wiki, and we may be considering a Google site where they're co-creating a page with students in other schools. I think as it was mentioned earlier, we do our best to make sure that the small group they're in is with students not from their own school, but from another school. And then from there, they create a project that they share with their own school or share with parents, with the larger community. And if you could do that, Julie, just go to a couple of we tried to post a few of the projects so you could see. These are some students from my school who they were looking into copyright. And what I did was I went ahead and posted some of the comments the kids made about the project. And I'll let you, there are links to the wiki pages where they created their projects. I think Kate and Allie, they were looking into copyright, so Kate decided to write a story about bullying and being careful of bullying. But they also had looked into Creative Commons, and that helped them decide what kind of Creative Commons license they should give to their story, which was pretty neat. If you go to the next page, my boys are always left. So they incorporated some digital etiquette in their Minecraft world, but what you don't see behind the scenes is the four boys having to talk to each other about etiquette as they're creating the world, because one goes in and erases part of what another one created, and that gets into discussions itself just in the creation of the project. Here's a link to cyberbullying. So if you have a link to that, it's a wonderful project. The kids love to create, they love to connect, and it's a great way to talk about a variety of topics. We have safety, privacy, copyright and legal, etiquette and respect, habits of learning online, literacy and fluency. You're not taking for granted, for example, that the Glogster that they post as their project can be seen by someone else in another school. Get into discussions about what filters through and what doesn't filter through.
Thanks, Helen. I'm going to keep moving. As you can tell by what Helen has just been talking about, the Digitine Digitween projects have lots of flexibility. It is a great entry project for that in sort of middle school level, and you can use different tools and create different products, and Minecraft is used. All sorts of things are being used. So it has lots of flexibility within your own classroom. It's not, Flat Connections projects are not a prescribed curriculum with a prescribed set of tools. We have an infrastructure, but then you can you take it to the world, basically. One thing about Digitween, I want to say is that it is really action-orientated. Students are asked to come up with some action projects, and we're building a week in the life in that respect as well. Claudia, yes, there will be. Now, I will post it right on flatconnections.com, the recording, okay? So don't worry. And there is also if you go to flatconnections.com, there is also, if you want to, and I'll put it on these slides as well when I get the recording generated. I'll put them on the slides are open for public viewing as well. All right, so where do you start? If you're now getting excited about global collaboration, where can you start? Well, of course, we've been talking about Flat Connections, but you can also explore Global Classroom. iEarn have some wonderful opportunities there, learning circles and other projects. There are other things like our Global Friendships, Global Virtual Classroom. I mean, these all provide opportunities for you to connect with like-minded educators, etc. Don't forget, we need to keep building our personal learning network. So come and join flatconnections.net, join the Global Education Conference, Ning as well. Have a look at Taking IT Global. ePals offers things. If you've got any other ideas, now is the time to share things via the chat window. If anyone else would like to share anything they're doing, any other opportunities, networks, PLN development, Twitter hashtags, Twitter handles, etc. Because this is a sharing session. We like to find out new things as well. So if you are connecting with people who are going global, please let us know. So just some words of advice, in terms of building your own personal learning network to be able to connect with global educators. Twitter is one of the best tools. It really is. So get yourself into Twitter. Make sure you are following people, interact, share what you're doing, use hashtags. Hashtags is the bridge to connecting with a large number of other educators. And of course, I didn't put it here, but I should have. The hashtag for Flat Connections is FlatConnect, okay? Hashtag FlatConnect. is where you'll find a number of posts about what we're doing. And of course, social networks. If you're going to join the Flat Connections Ning, flatconnections.net, come in and introduce yourself, cross-post with your blog, start and join discussions, etc. Just a quick word about tools, very quick word. So when we're talking about synchronous collaboration, we're really looking at Skype, Fuse, Google Hangout, etc., Blackboard Collaborate. Asynchronous, we've talked today about Edmodo for the younger students, Ning for the older students, VoiceThread, Wiki, Google, Google Docs, Google Presentations, etc. For collaborative work, some of these we're still experimenting with, and there are new ones coming up every day. WeVideo, Lucid Press, we experimented with Lucid Press for the student ebooks last semester, Padlet, Poplet, Wiki, Google Sites, etc. Cool Tools for Schools.wikispaces.com is a great resource. If you haven't found that yet, please have a look at that. It's just rich with new resources to explore. Just some resources here. I'm going to whiz through these because these are on the slideshow, and you can, once again, I'll put in the window, you can access these slides and go through them. But we have a number of resources on the flatconnections.com website of people sharing their global collaborations, some news articles, magazine articles, etc., or online e-magazine articles, etc., slideshows that we share, etc., for you to learn more. And that's just some extra things there. Yes, if you go to flatconnections.com, there's a menu item, Flat Connections News, and you can grab all the news there. Lots of news and lots of interest in global collaboration. So, in closing, the message is that we can work with the world. Isn't this a great image? This was actually taken at the Flat Classroom Conference in Japan. A very excited multicultural group of students who came together from different schools to learn for 3 days. This is after they'd just been on their trip into Tokyo, and they were putting together a video of their experiences. I just love the excitement on their faces. But, we can work with the world synchronously, and we can do it asynchronously through well-planned and well-managed global collaboration. So 3 things I want you to think about, 3 things to take away from this webinar. Just remember, learning does not happen in isolation. So with the new technologies, with the digital technologies, Web 2.0 technologies, you can flatten your classroom walls. You don't have to be in the classroom, just you and your students, and not with anybody else. Okay, it is possible, and people are doing it more and more every semester. And we invite you to participate in meaningful ways. So we want you to connect your students for collaborations. Think about ways so that you can connect them. Maybe it will be just you connecting with the class next door. I mean, that's a good start. Often that's the hardest start. Often it's hard actually to even connect and collaborate with your colleague in the classroom next door, rather than having to go global straight away. Going global can be a bit daunting. Don't forget, we're here to help. But whatever you do, you must connect your students and do collaborations. And the third takeaway is think about how you can shift content to context, right? It's not always about the content. Flat Connections Projects provides a structure, a framework for you to pour your content in as you need to. And the global collaboration and the projects are about context, the context of going global, of achieving better global understanding and better facility with digital technologies that, of course, are transferable skills and almost essential, really, for future employment when we look at our students and where they're heading. Don't forget, you will find lots of information in the book that has been out for a couple of years now, Flattening Classrooms, Engaging Minds. This is really one of the definitive texts on global collaboration in the classroom, and is full of rich stories from educators who are out there doing it. Come and subscribe to Flat Connections News. You'll find this link, of course, on the flatconnections.com website. And there's the last essential links there. So thanks so much, everyone. A big thank you to the Flat Connections teachers in the room, our project managers and supporters, and thank you to those who managed to stay in the room. I know some people might have dropped in and out due to tech issues, but we will share the link to this recording. So in the last couple of minutes, if there are any questions, or if anyone would like to open their microphone and say anything, ask questions, make comments, etc., I'll be here for another 5 minutes or so. You are most welcome to do that. So I will stop the recording now.